So yesterday I started recording a video about how to calculate where the spawn points were in your camp. If you don't know, there was a bit of an issue last week where a guy who had a floating camp was auto-banned by Bethesda. They were banned from the game. When he contacted Bethesda, they lifted the ban, but we think that the reason it happened was because he had submitted his camp to the best build system. And in that system there is a way to report a camp. It was a very high camp, so potentially people were fast travelling there, especially at the moment because we get these dailies saying visit a best build, and they would then fall to their death. So people were reporting the camp, and after so many reports there's obviously a bot in place that does an auto ban. I don't know whether Bethesda are going to revisit that or not, but they have said that they've made a statement saying that you can have floating camps, it's fine. But obviously, if people report your floating camp because they're dying, then you may end up with the auto ban. I don't know. So a couple of nights ago, I was actually not on this character, I was on Nora. A friend and I did some experimenting, and this was what I came up with. Please note that the orientation of my camp widget, I will now be placing my camp widget in this orientation. It is facing directly north with the sticky up bit at the back. I worked out that there were 2 spawn points in my camp. The green one is 30 paces. I counted paces like this in third person, facing due north. This point, or pretty much near it, because I can't place it exactly where I'm standing, about here I think, is where I land when I log in. It also, from testing with a friend in America, on 2 of Nora's camps, the place where he always landed, on the green point, the place where I log in. And today, when I logged in just now, I landed here. When I fast travel to my camp, I land here. And I've just done it, and yes, I landed pretty much almost on the pole. I'll show you. So I'm at Vault 76, and I'm now going to go back to my camp. And I am pretty much on the red point. So the video was going well. I thought I had figured out something important. So I invited a different friend last night to come and help me test this out. Now, given what had happened the previous night with my other friend, I predicted that they would always land here. They didn't. They landed over here. And every time I fast travelled to my camp, I did not land over here. I landed here at the green point. And I do not know why. I do not know. We tried it on a team, off a team. We tried travelling from different points. And each time he would land over here. And I would land here instead of here. I don't know what variables could be affecting it. You could say, well, it was the location, maybe it's different in different locations. Well, it had worked and is working again today the way I predicted. That I would log in here and I would land over there. Now the interesting thing about where my friend was landing was it was in line with these other points, but I do not know what this third point represents. And yes, he was definitely travelling to the camp and not to me. So there's obviously something odd going on. There's something I can't predict. We tried it again. I got Nora out. Now this was all done on the same server. It was done on my private server, which presumably is on the European mega server because I'm in the UK. And I tried it on Nora's camp that I tested the previous night with my other friend. That one worked fine. When I fast travelled to the camp, I landed at the equivalent of the red spot, and my friend landed at the equivalent of the green spot. The only thing I can suggest you do is that you test it out in your camp. If you want to know where to place your camp widget, you may land at that one, but if you're worried about people falling to death at your camp, for the majority of the time when people landed at my camp, they landed at this point. And this point is 30 paces due north of my widget. So find out where you want them to land. So if you've got a camp, look up, I guess. And then facing south, walk 30 paces, which is where I put my camp widget. You will have to experiment in your own camps. It does not look like there do appear to be rules, but there appear to be exceptions to the rules, and I don't know what those exceptions are. So yeah, just experiment. And it might be worth mentioning, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure all of you do know, I would hope you all know, that if you have 2 pieces of minus 50% fall damage on your armour, it doesn't have to be on your legs, it can be on your arms, you can have one on your arm, one on your leg. You can basically survive any fall. So I will just show you in case you haven't seen this. I took no damage. Now on Nora, in the days where we had to roll these, I went through about 300 modules trying to roll my second piece. So I tried using goat legs and 1 piece, it didn't work, I still died. You need 2 pieces. So if you don't have it, have a look in player vendors, see if you can pick a couple up. So experiment in your own camp. It may be, as I said, there are certain circumstances that change it. There is also the big possibility that it is just broken. I was so confident it was going so well, and then it all went horribly wrong. So there are a lot of things that are broken in this game. We just will never know, I don't think. And if you can't walk 30 paces, it is about 5.5 foundations between my camp widget and this northern point. This point that I land when I fast travel here, which I just did because I came back from the elevator, this one is 40 paces northeast. But from a point of view of protecting other people, the only person that ever seemed to land here was me. All of the visitors to my camp, apart from this anomalous time, landed here. So make of that what you will. The other thing worth mentioning is if I stand here and fast travel to my camp again, I do actually land here. And that is also useful if you travel to a camp on the top of a cliff and you land at the bottom, you can travel to the camp again and it will put you closer. So I'm assuming that that is this point. But then that would also mean, again, that you are landing here when you travel. So I do not know what the difference between these 2 points is and why the game assigns them. So I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry it's not the definitive video I wanted to put out, but I thought I would show you with good science. You publish all your findings and then you get other people to peer review it and test it, and this is what I'm doing. So Anyway, that is all from me today. Thank you for watching.